expectations for the state is that what? What are the assumptions for the state? You've already done your patient assessment. It is only going to be an isolated injury, whatever injury that you need to manage. So in this case, it's an upper extremity injury, right? An upper extremity injury. And because it's an upper extremity injury, the first thing you're going to do is, again, right, scene safety PSI. Right? Next thing is you're going to have your partner take stabilization of the extremity. So you're going to have... It's okay. Trust me. I'm going to have you do it the same way. So you're going to have your partner take stabilization of the extremity, and then what are you going to do? Right? You're going to check CSM. Now, you may see in the sheet that it says CSM first. Remember, there are certain things that need to be in exact order, and other things do not. The ones that definitely need to be in order are what? A, B, C, right? But in this case, I'm telling you this because in reality, if a patient is complaining of, right, a fracture, and your partner doesn't take stabilization and you're trying to do CSM, what do they think that your patient's going to tell you? This hurts, right? So what do you think? And you're going to ask me, can you feel me touching you, wiggle your fingers? What do you think they're going to say? Yeah, what the hell are you doing? Help me, right? Okay, so essentially what you're going to do is hold stabilization, right, and then check CSM. Make sense? Now that you've checked CSM, you're now going to try to figure out what you need to stabilize. So if it is you're going to use a padded board splint for most of your upper extremity injuries, with the exception of fractured scapula, dislocated shoulder, or fractured shoulder, because you're not sure, or, right, fractured clavicle. For all of these, your partner is holding stabilization, and all you need to do is put a sling and a swab. Remember, for your sling, right, the point towards the injured, right, the injured side, you can make your knot beforehand so it makes it easier for you, right? And point towards the injured side and drape over what? The opposite shoulder. So if this is the injured shoulder, I'm going to drape on the opposite shoulder, right, underneath the extremity, right? So in this case, you can just sit there and not just walk around you, right? So all I'm going to do is, this is the injured shoulder, this is the injured extremity. I'm just going to drape over the shoulder and bring this around, right? That's the easiest way to do it, right? And now tie where? On the opposite side. Tie on the opposite side. Don't forget your padding, right? Also remember, your swath needs to be where? So it needs to be closest to what? The elbow, and it needs to parallel that extremity. So if the extremity is there, I'm going to have to parallel it. I'm not going over the extremity, I'm just parallel it, okay? Not above, not too high, okay? Those are all your, right, that's for your clavicle, your scapula, and your shoulder. What are the other ones? Well, number one, you could also have what? Humerus. And if it's the humerus, make sure you pad underneath, over the top of this, and place it where? Underneath, right, underneath the arm, okay? If it's going to be the forearm, it's going to be this, right? If it's a forearm, it's going to be this. If it's the wrist, position of function, and cravat here and cravat right over the hand, right over the hand. And finally, the last one is the elbow, which a lot of people have been confused with. Don't forget to create a V. So see the V, right? It needs to be a V, right? Otherwise, it's not going to work for you, right? If somebody's holding like this, it's going to mess you up, right? It's going to mess you up, okay? All of these are going to need, right, every single one, from the humerus, right, to the elbow, right, to the radius and ulnar or forearm, as well as the wrist, are all going to need a sling and a swab, right? They're all going to need a sling and swab. Once it's done, once it's completed, right, next thing you're going to do is CSM, right? And that's it. If you looked at 2A, right, we covered all of those steps. As we walked through all of those, right, covered all those steps. Any questions?